Dude,
What's up?
have you seen the flipping price of meats, briskets?
Oh, dude, it's horrible, man. Pork, chicken, beef, everything is going up.
It's stupid. I tell you, it's just economy.
Yep.
You dude, I wish we had like a meat genie.
What the heck is a meat genie?
Like, you know, like a genie that gives you 3 wishes,
Mm-hmm.
but like instead of wishes, it gives you meat. Not any kind of meat, like brisket.
Dude!
Dude,
Dude!
righteous.
No!
What's up, guys? As you can see, the meat genie has granted us some brisket. Little 13-pounder, nothing huge, you know. Pretty decent shape. Good, you know, it's got some good striations in here, which tells me it's going to be, as long as it's cooked right, it's going to be nice and tender. Alright, there's a little bit more fat on here than I like to see, but my options weren't all that great. So, this is what we got. We're going to make do with what we have. We are cooking for a Super Bowl party tomorrow, and on the menu is going to be some brisket, sliced brisket, and some pulled pork. We're going to be starting our brisket later on tonight, but we're going to go ahead and prep it now so that the salt has plenty of time to get in there, do its thing with some dry brining. What it's going to do is it's going to get in there, it's going to penetrate, it's going to soak up into the meat. A lot of the moisture is going to come out of the meat, and during that process, it's going to suck it right back into the meat again. And that's what helps keep it nice and juicy later on during the cooking process, and especially during the rest. We're going to let this rest for a couple hours. The longer you let it rest, the better. But this is probably going to be about a 15 to 16 hour cook on this brisket, because like I said, it's only 13 pounds. Let me show you what I'm talking about with the way it's got too much fat. So you got this nice meat side here, you got a little bit of fat here, you got your hard fat here. This is what we're going to be cutting some of it off. This soft fat is going to render out, so we don't worry about that. But the other side, on the other hand, a lot of loose stuff we got to cut off. All this has got to come off. And a lot of soft fat on this side. We can leave a lot of this, but this whole back side is going to have to come down. And that's a lot of fat to take off. So, I don't know if I've said this before in the past, but what I do with my briskets is before I smoke them, what I do is I find the grain here in the meat. The grain in this one's running this way, okay? And what I'll do is I'll take my knife and I'll score just a small line opposite of the grain, just like that. Not deep, not deep. But when this thing cooks and after all the seasonings on it and it's got a good crust on it, this gap is going to show me the direction I need to start cutting this in, because you're not going to be able to see the grain of this when it's done. So I make this little cut right here opposite of the grain pattern, so that when it's all done, I know which direction I need to cut. Now, some people just, you know, memorize the position it was sitting in when they started. I don't do that. I make a cut so much easier. All right, so we're going to start whacking some of this fat off of here. It's hard fat. Now, I don't know what y'all do, but I like to keep all the fat because you can render this down and make some tallow out of it, and it works out real well for just, you know, especially if you can kind of liquefy it more and render it down enough. If you got a nice warm day where you can let it sit out, you can put that in a spray bottle, and you can even mist it on some stuff as you're cooking. It does a great job on chicken, duck, turkey for crisping up the skin. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing on this side, but what I'm doing is I'm taking that hard fat down quite a bit, because this hard fat does not render out. This hard fat, it's too thick, it's too hard, the membranes in there are too close together, it doesn't break down. This soft fat, like this stuff right here, this stuff will render out. This harder stuff, it won't. So we want the smoke, we want the flavor, we want all that to get to the meat that's under this hard fat. So we're going to take quite a bit of it down. Now, this obviously is not for any kind of competition, so I'm not looking for pretty. I'm looking for what's going to yield me the best flavor. And the best flavor is going to be getting this hard fat down. And I do not care, I'm bad to say, I do not care what this thing looks like when I'm done, because all we're doing is slicing it up and eating it. Looking to feed more people with maximizing the amount of meat I have. That hard fat is not really usable meat to me. All it does is hinder how much flavor I'm going to have in this thing later on. So, golly, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to come across here. Now, from the butcher, this thing already came cut. I did not make that cut. But kind of good because you can see how thick that fat layer goes in there. All right. So we are going to take quite a bit of this off. What I do is I kind of cut little by little till I can see just about how much I got till I get to meat, which is still quite a bit right there. See, this is just a ton of fat on here, so I'm going to stop it right there and start cutting back. And you can see on the bottom here, there's my meat starting right here. So I'm not going to cut no deeper than that. I'll start shaving off the top here, and that meat's going to start revealing itself a little bit. But I'll continue this down, and as I continue down, I'm going to kind of go outward, because that meat's going to be more presentable down here the further I go. It won't be as thick. So as I go, I'm going to kind of come down. See, there's that meat starting already. And come back in, take a little bit more off of here. Alright, just like that. Should have got me a pan for my beef fat here. I don't do a ton of talking when I cut fat off, because I'm trying to pay attention to where, because I can see, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see the pink just under this fat where there's not much fat left here before this meat starts showing. So that's as deep as I want to go there. And same thing with the rest of this. Like I said, I'm not worrying about the way this thing looks. I care about the way it's going to taste. And as you can see, boom, there's our meat right there. Not much deeper. I cut a little bit too deep right there and exposed the meat, which is fine. You know, it's fine. But the less fat you got on here, the better, because the less of the hard fat. Because you really do want as much flavor as possible getting into this thing, and this hard fat hinders that. I guarantee you about 5 pounds of this ain't nothing but fat. So this wasn't a very good cut for a brisket. Definitely this would not suit for a competition brisket by no means at all. But for what we're doing, you know, this is gonna work just fine. So that's about all. I'm gonna take a little bit more off right here. I'm gonna let a little bit of that meat come through right there. Well, you know what? We're just going to take it down more. How about that? We'll make it look pretty. We will make it look pretty. It's the Super Bowl, for crying out loud. Anyways, y'all know how to trim a brisket, so I ain't going to bore you with this whole entire thing. We'll show you the final product when I'm done, and then we will season it, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Super duper simple. See you back in a moment. Alright guys, so to season this up, super simple. All I do is coarse salt and coarse black pepper. That's it. You can throw whatever you want on these things. I prefer, when I cook them, just salt and pepper, because that, you know, the more stuff you have on the outside, and this is my opinion, when you start getting a good crust on this thing, to me it hinders the smoke from getting into this meat. So I just go super basic, a lot of salt, a lot of pepper. Most of this salt, by the time, and I just use this kosher salt. It's coarse sea salt or coarse kosher salt. Sea salt really ain't much different. By the time we pull this out the fridge later, you won't even see the salt. It's gonna be all soaked up in the meat. and have a nice even layer of thick, coarse black pepper. All right. So we just come down with this salt, just like this. And it may look excessive, and it might be for some people, but I promise you, this is not going to turn out bad. It's not going to be salty. All of this is going to do is going to give it a little, it's going to give it flavor for sure. It's going to help bring out the natural flavor of this meat. But what I want this stuff to do is penetrate this meat deep inside, pull the moisture out, and then allow that meat to soak that moisture back up in there. Now this is butcher block pepper. So if you ever used this before, you know it's pretty strong, but it's good and it's coarse ground. If you ever gotten like really, really good quality pastrami, this is the stuff they use on that pastrami. It's coarse ground butcher block pepper. And we're going with a pretty heavy layer on here. It's going to help with a good crust, but it's also going to help with the flavor later on. All right, and I just kind of massage it in the meat a little bit. Make sure it sticks. Now I will let this sit for about 5 to 8 minutes and let the juices kind of start help making this kind of tacky so it sticks better. Then I'll flip it and I'll repeat the process over again on the other side. And then this is ready to go back in the refrigerator for several more hours. And that's going to start. Now it's better if you can let this thing sit for like 24 hours. That's the best. We don't have 24 hours. We got about 5 to 7 hours before we put this on the smoker. So, but even that, 5 to 7 hours is plenty of time for this to really soak up that salt and have that interaction between the moisture and the salt, that transition happen. So, but we're gonna leave it open. We're not gonna wrap it up or nothing. We're gonna leave it just on the sheet pan, straight into the refrigerator, and it's gonna do its thing in there.
Oh my god. That is incredible.
What's going on, everybody? So we made it to the Super Bowl party. We're here now. We got the fryer going. What we're doing with this is we're gonna make some. This is a Johnny special RedBeard BBQ recipe. Some deep fried potato salad. Deep fried tater salad. That's all you need to know. I ain't gonna tell you nothing else. That sauce est bon.
Scale 1 to 10. Scale 1 to 10. How good was the pork and the brisket?
Pork was an 8.
Okay.
Brisket, if I have to say, is a little dry.
Okay.
I'm gonna say a 5.
5? Alright. Alright. What you think of the brisket?
I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10. This is my first time ever having brisket, so yeah.
Scale 1 to 10.
10 out of 10.
I would rate that brisket a 10 out of 10. And I've had a lot of smoke meat.
Scale 1 to 10.
A solid 13 and a half.
Let's go!
Andrew. Scale 1 to 10.
12, man. The potato salad, a 30. Incredible. Best potato salad I've ever had in my life. Period.
David. Scale 1 to 10. How good
give it
was
a 10.
10? Awesome. What'd you think of it?
It was good.
Rate it 1 to 10.
8.5.
Ready in the street, better bring